Hi, Mike here from Mertzke Custom Woodworking. Welcome to my shop and another edition of Woodshop Confessions. Today I'll be making an intersecting box shelf made from sapelli with walnut splines. I start off with some 4/4 rough cut sapelli and mark out the parts for both boxes that will make up the shelf. I always keep some chalk in the shop for just this purpose. Chalk is easier to see than pencil, and we're only marking them to their rough dimensions right now. Since my joint only has a capacity of 6 inches, I need to trim off a little bit of each of these boards before I do the final milling. With all the parts ripped and crosscut to the rough dimension, it's time to joint one face and one edge of each of the parts on the joiner. With my thickness planer, I'm going to plane down the parallel face and then bring each board down to 3/4 of an inch. Back at the table saw, I ripped down each of the boards to their final width of 5.5 inches. To make the miter joints for the boxes, I used my table saw with the blade tilted to 45 degrees. I found this method to be more accurate than my miter saw. Here I've clamped a board to my miter gauge as a fence to give me a good reference surface. I'll cut all the miters on one side of each board first, and then clamp a stop block to a mark that I've pre-measured on the fence, and then cut the opposite miter. This way it will ensure that each board is exactly the same length. Next I need to mark out each of the half-lap joints that I'll use to attach the two boxes together. Now this is a really important step to make sure they're properly placed and sized. To set up for these half-lap joints, I set the blade to half the height of the workpiece and then screwed a scrap board to 2 miter gauges, and then just nibbled away at the half-laps till they fit perfectly. Of course, we come to everyone's favorite part of the project, sanding. I sand all the way up to 220 grit on the inside since it'll be harder to do once the boxes are assembled. At the router table, I'm cutting keyhole slots so the shelf can be mounted flush to the wall. To assemble the boxes, I'm going to show 2 different methods. Now both methods I'm going to tape the inside of the miters, and that's just to prevent glue from squeezing out of the joint. The first box will be glued and then clamped together with 2 strap clamps. It's very important to make sure both boxes are completely square to avoid any issues later when we go to attach them. On this second box, I'm using painter's tape as the clamps. Each joint has 2 pieces of tape holding them tight end to end. I just have to apply some glue and then fold it up onto itself and then tape the last joint. Now don't forget to check for square. To cut the splines, I'm using my spline cutting jig, which just rides along the fence. Instead of using a dado stack, I'm using the standard saw blade to cut the 1/4 inch slots. A sharp 1/4 inch chisel makes quick work of cleaning up the inside of the slots. I didn't get any good video of it, but here I'm just cutting all the splines out of walnut and then sanding them flush. Once the splines are sanded flush to the box, I finish sanding up both boxes to 220 grit. To attach the boxes together, I apply some glue to the inside of the half lap, and then line both boxes up, and then give it a little motivation. To finish the boxes, I'll be applying 3 coats of Waterlux. This tung oil really brings out the grain in the sapelli and the walnut, and really shows the contrast. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or question below, and if you haven't already, please subscribe, like, and share. Until next time.